The 2025 NFL season has really been the year of the head coach. You look at the head coaching jobs that are being done in New England, in Jacksonville, in Chicago, in Denver, but also you got to look at what Kyle Shanahan is doing with the San Francisco 49ers. All of those coaches, I believe, are worthy of conversation for coach of the year. But when you look at what Kyle Shanahan has done with the San Francisco 49ers, the injuries that they've sustained and continue to play at a very high level, both offensively and defensively, they've played without some of their very best players for a long time throughout the season. Some of them are not going to come back. You look at all-pro linebacker Warner, he's not coming back. He's doing this podcast and talking to everybody else, but he is not on the field for the 49ers. They played the Bears just this past Sunday without George Kittle. They've lost Bosa as well. And no matter what, they've continued to thrive. Most notably, they played without their starting quarterback, Brock Purdy, for quite some time. And cast off, potential bust, Mac Jones came in and played at a high level and kept them winning football games. There's no slight to Liam Cohen. There's no slight to Ben Johnson and the others. But what Kyle Shanahan has done with the San Francisco 49ers and how they finished the game on Sunday against the Chicago Bears cemented his candidacy for Coach of the Year.
Look, welcome to Plants on the Gridiron. It's Chicago's first and only plant-based tailgate.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like. Bigger world, baby.
And here's what we love. It is Chicago's most unique event. We combine health, we combine sports, love of football, and you gotta bear down. Chicago Bears, baby.
To see the community coming together and just enjoying some really good plant-based food. There's people here that are meat eaters, there's people here that are fully plant-based, and we can come together as a community and just really have an impactful event.
Because we are Chicago homegrown.
Come late, the food gonna be gone.
I am the Sumo, Morgan Park, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
This is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the Bigs.
I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
What's up, y'all? This is Kyrie Irving. You're tuned into the Bigs.
What's happening is Dame Lillard, a.k.a. Dame Dollar, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
What's up? This is D Rose, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the Bigs.
Look, welcome to Plants on the Gridiron. It's Chicago's first and only plant-based tailgate.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Bigger world, baby.
And here's what we love. It is Chicago's most unique event. We combine health, we combine sports, love of football, and you gotta bear down. Chicago Bears, baby.
Awesome to see the community coming together and just enjoying some really good plant-based food. There's people here that are meat eaters, there's people here that are fully plant-based, and we can come together as a community and just really have an impactful event.
Because we are Chicago homegrown.
Come late, the food gonna be gone.
I am the Sumo, Morgan Park, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
Yeah, this is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the Bigs.
I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
What's up, y'all? This is Kyrie Irving. You're tuned into the Bigs.
What's happening is Dame Lillard, a.k.a. Dame Dollar, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
What's up? This is D Rose, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the Bigs.
Welcome back. We are live from inside the Big Studios. This is the Hurry Power Show. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to tune into the conversation. If you'd like to be a part of it, feel free to leave as many comments, questions, or ideas as you like. We'll try to get to some of them as we go through the show. But as you guys know, it is time for our segment, Give Me a Sawbuck, where we sit down and talk for at least 10 minutes. The Sawbuck usually goes a little bit longer. But today, we got a very, very special guest. This man is as responsible for me sitting in this chair as anybody else. He hates when I tell this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. When I was growing up, and I mean grammar school growing up, I would walk past his house every single day on my way to school. I had no idea who he was in the world of sports. I just knew he was the only black man, the only man that I saw coming out of the crib going to work every single day. And not only would he do that, he would take time to holler at me and my friends. Just a brief moment. What's going on? What y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Y'all staying out of trouble? What them grades looking like? What y'all got going on? Those types of interactions would happen almost daily as I was going to and sometimes from school. He also had a Black Pathfinder truck that at the time we thought was the coolest car we had ever seen. Like, nobody else had a car that raw in the hood like that. You know, the dope boys had their things, but that was a box Chevy situation. The Black Pathfinder was the slickest, cleanest thing that we would see. And so we always used to love the truck. And he would always just show us love and show us
and personalized plates.
And personalized plates for sure. Always would just show us love and just give us the time of day, which was rare. It wasn't until some time that I even knew what his name was, and then I'm going, and then I still didn't know what he did. But then I'm going through my Slam magazines like we had back in the day, and I'm reading it. And it says Scoop Jackson, and it might have had a little picture in the corner. I don't know, but I was like, oh my God. That's the man to be hollering at us every single day. He lived up the street. Like, at the time, I lived on 69th in Paxton. At the time, he lived on 72nd in Paxton.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, it was like, oh man, this affinity that I have for sports could go beyond how long I could play. Whether it was football or basketball at the time, it made it real for me, man. It made it real that somebody who looked like me, who spoke my language, who lived in my neighborhood, you know what I mean?
They gave you respect.
Indeed.
That's the thing.
Indeed.
That's the thing.
Indeed.
That's the thing. Just like, hey, treat everybody like everybody. You know, I think we have different spaces in Black communities where, you know, there are Black people who live there, but they actually don't live there, if you know what I mean.
Right.
They think they're above everybody, where you see people of your own color, younger people, you don't acknowledge them as they walk by your house, or you don't, you know, you think you're above that, you know. And I never believed in that. I've always believed in, you know, we always say, you know, as Black people, when we get to a certain place, you know, I have to give back. I've never believed in that. You know, why? If you don't leave, you don't have to give back.
Right.
You just give.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So I've always been a believer in never leaving the community, never leaving the hood, never, you know, looking at the hood a certain way without having love colored glasses on. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was just more about just engagement than anything, and staying, you know, just trying to give you all the love I thought y'all deserved.
And you definitely did, and we definitely felt it. And now for it to be, you know, full circle to where now I'm in the industry and you come as a guest on the Herb Howard Show, man, just those little deposits that you made when I was a kid was extremely, extremely valuable. And the guidance and the mentorship that you've continued to give me as I've grown into this business is something that I continue to appreciate as much as I did when I was a shorty. So thanks for coming, brother.
Oh man, anytime, man.
I'm glad you're here.
It's an honor, you know, to be here as always. You know, even though I do hate telling that story.
Yeah, he always tell me, stop. You don't have to say that every time you introduce me somewhere. But if I got like a moment to speak and like a thing.
But no, I mean,
it means a lot to me.
No, it means a lot to me too, because it's just a pride. I mean, as much as you get out to see you doing your thing, to see the crew doing their thing, to see you all come up. And I know you a long time. Yeah. You know, everybody here goes back, and I've seen the come up of everybody, you know, and just to see that, and to think that I had, you know, some spark of inspiration, maybe to be like
to say the least,
just to be a guiding light of, you know, if you put some work into it, if you dedicate yourself to it, this could happen. You know, I take pride in that, but also more than anything, take pride in the fact that you all should not have to struggle the way I had to struggle in order to do what you all want to do in this industry. You know, and if there's anything I can do by doing what I've done, what I still try to continue to do to make what you all do easier, and that you all start off at a different platform than I did, and you get to carry. Yeah. You get to carry more, but carry less weight.
Yep.
If you could do that, then that's what it's really all about. So I don't mind going through the story because I know what I see on the other side. And it makes me feel good that I played a role in helping, you know, you all get to where you got. But it also makes me come back to not that I don't like your story, I love your story, I appreciate your story. But the funniest story of living on 72nd Paxton was the guy who stayed next to me, Mr. Morris. Same kind of thing happened to him. And I was there for about like 6-7 years. By the time he came, he said, man, I was at the barbershop and I was watching ESPN and you came up on the screen. And I can curse on here, right?
Oh yeah, you good.
He said, I was at the barbershop and you came up on the screen. And I told the cast of the barbershop, oh, that dude, Scoop stay right next door to me. No, he telling me I'm lying. Tell this and
man, you lying. You
lying. You know this dude. He said, The nigga got to live somewhere. Why can't he live next to me?
Why not?
Right.
Why not?
So anytime you tell your story, it always makes me think of Mr. Morris and makes me smile. So I appreciate it.
Shout out to Mr. Morris. No, it's super, super cool. You definitely blazed that trail for us. Listen, we're gonna get into the Bears, but since we're here, let me kind of work backwards from where I wanted to go.
Okay.
You look at the state of the industry now. How do you view it as opposed to the traditional media that you entered the game in versus where it is now and the social media and everything else?
Rick Tellender always tells me that since I came in the game got a little bit darker, which I take a little pride into. I think, and it was getting darker a little bit as I got into it. But the one thing that I can't lie, I've seen the change, not just from a technology standpoint, but from a personnel standpoint, is how not just legacy media has changed, but how traditional journalists have, especially from a face-forward camera situation, have been pushed to the side for content and commentary by those who played the game. And I don't have a problem with that. It's just interesting to me because I don't see that happening in any other fields of media at the pace and at the frequency and at the volume that I see it happening in sports.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that is happening is not just name recognition, but it's also athletes to a certain degree challenge establishments less than most other individuals do who come through the regular traditional foundation of entering into media space. And media, especially at the sports level, wants to be less challenged.
Yep.
They want to be more controlling. And if you can build your workforce with those that are going to challenge you less, then that's better for you and your bottom line and how you want to grow.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing I'm noticing. But once again, I don't notice it in any other field, like at the degree I see it happening in sports. So I'm not saying it's bothering to me. It's just very noticeable. And the other thing, I'll make this clear without getting old man on the soapbox type thing, is I'm seeing more and more because of that. This silent narrative of if you haven't played the game, you don't know the game and you can't speak on it. And I've seen it actually, like, it's getting to the point we're starting to get spoken out loud. It's still quiet, but it's still in the out loud thing. I think Ryan Clark actually had to say something, apologize for actually saying that to somebody, and it's interesting to me that narrative has become prevalent in sports media when I look across the board at other areas of media. And I do not see that. I've never seen a politician say anything to anybody on MSN or CNN say, you have not run for, public elected office, so you don't know what this is about. You have not
Entertainment Hollywood.
Or Entertainment Hollywood.
The actor tell the Entertainment Hollywood, you ain't never been in a movie. You don't know.
Exactly. You've never been a producer. You never acted. You've never done this, that, and the other. So you can't be the one to speak on the subject. I've never seen anybody on any medical show or anybody who writes about medicine say anything to a journalist that you have not done surgery. Right, exactly. You have not done a residency. You've not been in an operating room. You have not worked at a hospital. So you don't know what you're talking about. And it's interesting to me, especially with the racial dynamic that plays itself different in sports than it does in most other areas, that this seems to be a talking point, a thing.
Yep.
It really is a thing now. Like I said, the athlete thing doesn't bother me. That bothers me.
Yeah.
That really does bother me because it's acting like the work that's being involved to do this ends nowhere because you really don't know what it is that you're speaking on.
Right.
And I've always pushed back when I've had conversations with many athletes about this. I said, well, you really don't know what it is that we do. Because while you know inside the game, you have no idea what it is to search, gather information, and report. So when I talk to young athletes the same way I spoke to you when you were younger, Scoop, what do we need to do again? Learn how to be a reporter. If you really want, while you're playing the game, learn how to gather your own information and not rely on somebody getting it to you, not relying on your contacts. The way you really become a journalist is knowing how to gather truthful information, shaping that into something nobody else can do, and then delivering it to the public. They have no idea what it's like to gather information. They don't know what it is to research. Not for a paper in school. It is like really research information that's going to be challenged, is going to be tested, that could get a company sued and put that information out there. That's what journalism is.
Wow.
So I don't see that in them. It's just that they know the game from the inside. And there's so much more to what you're doing when you're reporting sports than just being on the inside, being behind those curtains.
Right.
It's so much more than that. And what I see is that aspect of it being reduced because they're getting athletes, former athletes, to do the job of what traditional journalists do. So you're losing a lot of the reporting and a lot of the research and a lot of the content that goes into doing that. And you're also dealing with areas of, once again, I don't want to challenge anything. You're dealing with some form of nepotism when you're dealing with that, where you will see players who used to be teammates of other players. Yes, they do have insight, but they won't challenge their friendships. They've watched what Michael Jordan did with Charles Barkley and said, I don't want that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're getting something, but you're giving off something at the same time.
So
I'm missing the balance. I would like to see more of a balance of more of like traditional journalists and athlete journalists or former athlete journalists play a role. And I'm seeing it go one-sided right now.
I think you're also getting some of the situations where you get guys who are, trying to stay around the game in hopes of being their fringe Hall of Famers, and they're just going to stick around. If I'm still relevant long enough, I'll get that vote in. I think a lot of those things are happening. And that's, again, why they won't push the line. They won't, be challenging to some of the status quo. I love that you said gathering truthful information and then putting it out there in a way that nobody else can do. That part resonates with me because we're in a era now where everybody's in a rush to be first.
Yes.
And they're in so much of a rush to be first that they aren't even concerned with being factual.
No.
Like, that's not even true. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
You said that and it's not even true. But you wanted to say it first. I remember, I think this goes back to Matt Nagy.
And companies are following that. It's not just the individuals. Go ahead. Companies are following that.
They are.
Go ahead.
They're just be first. Just be first.
Because they're in competition with the outlets to get first. So
get it out there the fastest.
Right. Your major companies are competing against Instagram, competing against TikTok, feeding against any type of social media that can get out there first. So it's not ESPN against Fox. It's ESPN against your Twitter account. Right. Exactly. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I remember when a story broke about Matt Nagy, when he was still here, and that he's going to be fired on Thursday after there was a Detroit Lions game, I think, but he's going to be fired after the game. It was like, well, who the hell said that? Right. And of course that came and it didn't happen. And it was like, now you're trying to walk this thing back about what sources you had or didn't have. And it was just like, this rush to be first is a problem. But also when you talk about,
I'm gonna cut you up. You make a great point. Who are your sources? We're also living in an age where sources do not have to be revealed. And that covers your ass on not having to worry about whether you're right or wrong. You can basically not be accountable for the lies that you tell in this game and say somebody else I got it from without revealing
that person.
There was a story, and I hate to call my man's name out, but I won't call my man's name out. There was a story done at ESPN years ago on Kobe Bryant. And I won't call the author's name out because I don't blame him. I blame the editors. He had, I think, 19 unchecked, and they ran it in ESPN, the magazine. It was a full page, I think 7-8 page spread on Kobe.
Really?
19. I take this article with me when I go speak to students, journalism students, and people in the, in colleges and high schools where the media is the concentration. 19 unnamed sources in a story. It's almost cowardly. For you to not be held to any type of accountability to where you get your information from. But we're living in a day and age where you can't be mad at the journalist because the gatekeepers are allowing that to happen. So, you know, why? What's your when you're in a rush to get the information out first, and you don't have to cover your ass on anywhere where you got the information.
19
unnamed sources. Once again, this is something that happens in sports a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could not do this for Time Magazine.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I cannot do this for the Washington Post.
So I'm a huge fan of the show The Wire. I think it's the best show I've ever
David
seen.
Sam, I got a book for you to read. I'm reading it right now. Yeah.
Okay. There's a scene in there when they're doing there's season 5 when they got the newspaper involved, and the editor, Gus, the black dude, he's questioning one of his writers. Right? He's suspicious of one of his writers, who absolutely is making up shit. But he's questioning them, and he
now
talks.
You know that's I'm gonna say this real story. There's a story about a boy who used to work for the New York Times. I forgot the brother's name, but it hit me though. But yeah, this actually they kind of lifted that from the headlines of a story that actually happened to a writer from the New York Times. But go ahead.
Yeah. Now he tell in the scene. Now he's talking to the big boss of the paper, and so the boss is telling him to push the thing through. I like it. They trying to get a Pulitzer and all that. So he's like, listen, we have a sourcing policy here at this paper, and I'm not comfortable bending it in this instance. I'm going home. You push it through if you want to. Had to got to respect that. 2-3 weeks ago, whenever Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon was out, they had been out, and there had been skepticism about, or questions about when they were going to return. Now, I got the word for exactly when they were going to return. It was like, I think the Steelers game was coming up, and then they were going to Philly. And people were like, are they going to play against the Steelers? And I was on Fox with Lou Canellis and some others. And I said, no, they're going to come back in Philly. I was like, a source told me they're coming back in Philly. Now, I had to tell Gene and Terrence, as my editors and my boss, I had to tell them exactly where I got that from. And so when me and Gene are doing the show, he asked me, say, hey, when them boys come back to play? And I'm like, oh, man, I wasn't even going to put it out there just yet. But I put it out there, but he put me on the spot because I had already told him where I got it from. Jalen Johnson told me. And Kyler Gordon told me when they was coming back. Right. You know what I mean? And so when I said it on Fox, they was like, well, who told you that? Right? Mark Grody. Shout out to Mark Grody. We cool. But he was like, I want to know who this birdie is. And I was like, you've met him. Don't worry about it. But I had to tell my editors for sure where that came from. You can't just throw stuff out there like that. Sure enough, they didn't play against the Steelers, and they came back in Philly. But that's stuff you got to be right about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be correct about those types of things. So.
And here's the thing. The fear of that is you putting that information out on one of your social outlets as opposed to saying it on camera where it has advertising value directly attached to a larger company. That's the fear.
Yep.
So not only are legacy outlets in broadcast fighting against each other, and public social media, they're fighting with internal social media outlets with their own employees.
Yeah.
And look, please save that information for us and don't run to the other outlets and put that out before we get it.
Yeah. No,
that's the fight that up, but it shouldn't be.
That's what Gene did. He made sure we dropped it here first.
Right.
And then Fox was like was a later thing I did.
Yo, that's written in contracts now.
Yeah.
In your contracts, they're making sure that you abide by those rules that as an employee or independent contractor, whatever relationship you have with that outlet, that you provide that information first. That is written in contract. Now that's how serious it is, but it still should not come at the expense of the truth.
Yep.
To me.
No, I agree with you 100%. And Terrence been on us a lot about that lately across all our beats, Bears, Bulls, about just where we're putting things first and making sure everything is driven through the bigs as opposed to wherever else we might do these different things. So
I raised Terrence well.
Raised him very well. Speaking of that, I want to get into this, and now Terrence gonna go off on me because this is going way too long. But the authenticity, that's another thing that you taught me. The authenticity with which you show up in your job, it's in your pieces, it's in your work, number one.
I try to thank you.
But it's also in your presence, how you show up into the spaces. And I remember when Kevin Warren got hired to be the new Bears president, the Bears put together a black media dinner, and they invited us all out as black media, and we were down at Israel Adonijah's restaurant. Shout out to Izzy at Signature, and I was like, what the hell am I gonna wear? You know what I mean? I'm like, what am I gonna wear now? So I think I put on a suit or something. I came in there, and as soon as I get there, I see Scoop. And what Scoop got on? J's and a hoodie. I said, God damn it, I'm uncomfortable in here. And he is so chill. I'm like, the authenticity that you always shown up with, especially considering that you entered this thing decades before me. How have you managed to maintain the authenticity? Why is it so important to you? And yeah.
One is two things. Is half of it is arrogance. There's no lie. The second part of that is letting your work speak above anything that you represent.
Yep.
And the arrogant part on my end is entering into the game with having, as I like to tell my kids, is now your LinkedIn page. Don't have any holes in your resume. So don't have any holes in your LinkedIn page. And I tried to do everything I could to check every box so that the value I was presenting to the world, the business world, or whatever, the world period, because I wasn't just trying to work for anybody. I was just, whatever I create for myself. So it was just that this is me on a piece of paper. This is me on a screen. I didn't want there to be any holes in it. So, when I walked out had my bachelor's degree, had already worked with the city of Chicago for years. So I understood what the job market was like and having a job and holding down a job since I was 19 years old. I've worked every day of my life since I was 16 years old, regardless if it was McDonald's or working for the city of Chicago or working for BET. Always been working. So I had the education piece for, because I had the undergraduate degree, graduated with a master's degree, was on the national dean's list. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm
beyond reproaching these ways.
Right. And I've done the research to, I learned how to actually research to do a master's thesis and a master's journal. So I'm like, there's no holes. And on my resume was actually, Black Entertainment Television. So I'm like, all right, find the holes in my resume. So that's where the arrogance steps in. I'm like, I'm 25, 26 years old. I'm stepping into this piece like, who got this?
There is no imposter syndrome.
Right. There is none. No, not only do I belong here, I don't belong with one foot in the door. And I've always functioned with it's not outwardly arrogance. It's the arrogance that my mother always said that a black man needs to travel with in order to survive. She said, a black man without arrogance ain't shit in this country. And I've always tried to function that way. Now, you don't have to let the world know you have arrogance, but you have to have, but it can't be false belief.
Right.
It has to be belief in the work that you put into your own life to give you that belief.
Right.
And that arrogance, because with that arrogance of me, I've always walked into and been in every space that y'all ain't never met a nigga like me before, ever. And that's what has afforded me the comfortability of being me. Now, keep in mind, I still have this belief that the work I'm going to put out there is still going to speak louder than anything I show up in, anything I show up saying.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if you see that byline, that's what's going to speak. And I've tried to, for almost 40 years, let that byline, not let the byline be secondary to what you're reading that's by that byline. So it's going to be the work. So even if you have a policy of everybody showing up in suits, his ass can show up any way he wants to, because that shit he just wrote. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm trying to be on some Gary Smith Sports Illustrated type stuff. Yeah. I'm trying to, and Herb, you know me, I'm trying to do what Stevie Wonder did. I'm trying to do
Come on.
what, Rakim and Kendrick Lamar did.
on.
I'm trying to do what Regina King and Meryl Streep and Denzel Washington do. I'm trying to do what, we're watching, all these young creative mastermind. I'm trying to be Donald Glover before Donald Glover.
Come on.
I'm trying to be so accurate, and I'm trying to be what David Simon did with The Wire.
Yep.
I'm trying to be on that level. Never know I'm never going to reach it. But if you walk into a room and you do what David Simon did, or you walk into a room and you did what Lin-Manuel did with Hamilton, they don't give a fuck about how you know what I'm saying? It's your work. It is your work that speaks for you. And that's how I've tried to function through here for 30-some years, in letting that work speak for you. Because if your work speaks for you, how you show up is going to speak for itself.
My God.
So that's why I've been able. Now, I'm not saying I've done it, but I've always walked, with that with me. That's always been in my bag. And I've always tried to make that speak for me. But I've also used that as a gauge so that I can be myself, that I never have to feel like I have to code switch or I have to adapt or bend in a way that's outside, that I'm trying to make you feel comfortable with me outside of me feeling comfortable with who I am.
Yep.
And I've always been unapologetic about just not me, but what my representation of Black culture is.
What's the point in being a representative if you're not going to be a full representative or accurate depiction of what it is?
But it depends on what your end game is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And my end game, unfortunately, has never been about making other people try to recognize me. It's not been about trying to get a certain amount of money or reach a certain platform. Yeah. It's been about the work. And to me, once you dedicate yourself to the work, then everything else is going to fall in place. Look, you see top designers, whether it be Tom Ford or, Jerry Lorenzo.
Sure.
You see them maybe come out for photo shoots and look a certain way, but how they function every day in life and come up, they are just comfortable because they know they're masters of their craft.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can't tell them anything. So why should I look at somebody like a Black savant and see them flowing the way that they flow and not having to accommodate a code switch for anybody, and me not try to put that on myself?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. And I've seen you do it time and time again. I've seen you do it in every panel discussion. I've seen you do it on television. I've seen you do it everywhere. You invited me out to, you and Rick Tellender had a thing going on, and you invited me out, and most of the room was white, but I'm watching you, and you're just doing you, man, like you always do.
But you can't. Two things we have to deal with as Black people. One is that's being ashamed of each other, and secondary, being afraid of each other. I've tried to never, ever, ever be both. You have the rest of the world is going to look at us a certain way, this and the other. Is my responsibility to never look at us, and that includes me, in that type of light. I'm never going to be ashamed about anything we do. But once again, it's attributed to putting in the work.
Gotta be the work, right?
It's got to be relocated to the work, but also giving ourselves some grace and understanding the situation, how hard it is to get that work done when we are born into this world with extra work already put on us. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we already carrying work with us when we come into this space. So my thing is to never be ashamed of that. Never be ashamed of ourselves. Walk as if we're saying to ourselves. So it's like, all right, well, you have to do this. You have to do this. Why? Why? But is it gonna make me or us look a certain way? And who is that certain way we looking to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I can feel a connection by the way that I present myself to a young brother or a young sister, but you all feel a certain way about it, then I'm definitely doing that, because I'm not here for you.
Right. Right.
I'm here to make them feel comfortable and unashamed of who they can be or what they want to be or what they see when they see other people like them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's you have to flow with that. And I've always tried, always tried to do that. But once again, it has to come with the work, and it has to come with us getting past that stigma of being told how we're supposed to show up, how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to quote unquote bow down. You know, how we're supposed
to shrink in these spaces.
Right. How we're supposed to shrink it, how we're supposed to be imposters in our own spaces. As you said, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I can't say I've never subscribed to that. I have never honored that. I have never, wished for that. I've never wanted that to be any part of my life. So, and there's a lot of things that have come with that. There's a lot of things that have not been afforded to me, that have not been given to me, that I've not been recognized for. This and that. It comes with.
It has a cost, but you got to decide what's more expensive to you. Like, and I tell people that all the time. They're like, "Oh, Herb, this, that, and the third. You should." Since I've been in this industry for just 5 years, a lot of people have tried to get me to jump ship, to go here, to go there, to go here, to go there, and I'm like, "That's cool." And I get that and get the opportunities or whatever, the bag, whatever. That's too expensive for me.
Right.
What they're asking for of me costs too much.
Here's the thing, but that though, remove yourself from that scenario and see, is there a bigger situation where you can have more value for more people like you though? Give you an example. When we started XXL magazine, right? I told the publisher, because we were doing Slam magazine at the time, and XXL, same publication, same publishing house, right?
Sure.
And I was doing my own magazine, same thing. I was doing Slam, but I still had my own magazine. And I was doing some freelance work for some other magazines, including like I was helping the Source Sports get off the ground. I was writing for XXL, doing some stuff there. And I told the publisher, I said, look, man, I will shut all this other stuff down if we can start another magazine. You know what I'm saying? And that's including my own magazine.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. I had a small magazine. I was own publisher, this, that, and the other. But there was so much more I could do by creating a magazine like XXL than I could having my own magazine for Black people. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
So keep that in mind, because sometimes you have a greater value than just doing you. But you have to make sure that your next move, or whatever that move is, whatever that offer comes in, is not just about you.
I get that.
You get what I'm saying?
I get that.
Because look, one of the beautiful things about doing XXL, when we started XXL, one of the cats that I got working for me was Daytwan Thomas. And now Daytwan Thomas is now running Dick Clark's whole thing. I could never do that for anybody.
Right.
Publishing my own magazine here in Chicago.
Right. I get
you
that.
get what I'm saying?
I get that.
Just keep that in mind.
For me, it's gotta be a Rockefeller Def Jam thing. Like, don't sign Jay-Z, sign The Rock.
Right, exactly.
You know
Exactly. Right.
That's just it. It's us. Listen, we do gotta talk some Bears here. We're gonna get into that. We gotta take a quick break. When we come back, I do need your opinion on some of this Bear stuff. All of this stuff has been so much more valuable, and I've appreciated it so much more. But I do want to know what you think about the Chicago Bears as they enter these 2025 playoffs. Take a quick break, and we'll come right back on the other side. This is the Herb Howard Show. Oh my goodness. Welcome back. We are live from the big studios. My name is Herb Howard. This is the Herb Howard Show. Thank y'all so
Shout out to
very much for being
Ghostface.
there. Shout out to Ghostface, man. Shout out to Ghostface. Sometimes we gotta open the door and let y'all come in the studio, let y'all just hang out sometimes. But speaking of that, shout out to everybody who came to the Biggs watch party on Sunday night, man. We did it at the Red Pepper Lounge. Shout out to Red Pepper, my whole family over there. And shout out to all of y'all who came through, man. It was a beautiful, beautiful evening. So much love in the building. The room was packed, wall to wall, none but love. We watched the game together. We enjoyed some beverages together, and we, loved on each other, man. It was super, super dope. The energy was high. The vibes were amazing. So can't thank y'all enough to every single person that came out. That's been rocking with us. We had family, we had friends there. We had Jason Goff came through.
JJ.
Crystal, one of our biggest supporters, came through. Like it was cracking, man. So just thank y'all to everybody who came out and supported the Biggs watch party on Sunday night as they took on the San Francisco 49ers. School. It did not go the Bears' way. Offense played well, defense did not.
We had that defense conversation at the beginning of the season.
Yes, we did.
Very before the season started. We had that conversation.
It popped up on Sunday night. What was your immediate reaction of that Sunday night loss?
Well, once again, I feel like a lot of people did. I gained a lot of pride for the Bears hanging in there because of the way things have gone down during the season with them and the games that I think they've reduced themselves to their competition.
Sure.
Like showing up at the 58th minute.
Yeah.
And deciding to play ball,
Against the Giants,
right. I mean, but there's been a caveat of things that I think have happened to their favor that they haven't played above.
Sure.
They met the moment in this game, down for down.
They did.
With the team I thought was one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL because they're getting everybody back healthy and you look at their pedigree.
They came into the game, the 49ers, they had scored 94 points since their last punt.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
I know.
Insane.
Dude hadn't punted in a month. And the Bears at least got him to punt twice or three times. I forgot how much it was. But it wasn't about the win to me. It was more about the
validation.
Yeah, the way they played during that game. Mm-hmm. And I felt more comfortable with the way they came out of that game in a loss than they did had they won.
Yeah.
And I was proud of them, and it showed like some fight. And Ben Johnson talks about finding a way to win. I saw them find a way to compete.
Yep.
And that was more important to me.
Yeah, no, I agree that I came away still impressed by them, even though they lost. Not as much as I would if they won, but certainly more so than I was impressed with them beating the Giants the way they did last minute, beating the Bengals the way they did last minute. Like those things, even beating the Packers the way they did last minute. I know that game is epic and it'll live on throughout time, but the Packers outplayed y'all for 58 minutes.
Right,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? So like it's
and they did it without two of their best players. That's what bothered me. If you look at the history of this year with the Bears, there have been, and even though George Kittle didn't play in this last game, and they lose Trent Williams during the game. Yeah. Same thing with like Michael Parsons not being in, the Jordan Love going down. You're supposed to take care of this business when those main players are out.
Yeah.
Outside of George Kittle and Kent not being there, Trent not being there, the Bears held ground.
They did.
They
did.
And that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
That's what I think we needed to see, because I hate to say this, they've had some good games, they have some close games, this, that, and the other, but to me, this was their first playoff game. I'm not taking anything away from the Packers, because the Packers are a big game, but that's more rivalry, NFC North type thing. They could have played that game in October and it still had the same vibe.
Yeah.
This is Frisco. This is a team who's been to the Super Bowl a couple of, within the last couple of years.
Yep.
They come into the season talking Super Bowl.
With a different cachet. Yeah,
no, right. They come into the season talking Super Bowl. That's the way they function over there. To see them match that, and for them to both be 11 wins in at this point, this was a playoff game. And to me, the Bears showed up for their first playoff game. And that's great to see in this season 1 of the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and that rookie onslaught that they got going on. You know, Menendez, Loveland, and Luther Burton 3.
Yeah.
That rookie core, well, that for the core 4, I like to call them.
Yeah.
Because you include Williams in there.
Yeah.
They have a chance to, they're all still on their rookie contracts. They have a chance to be there. That's your building block offensively right there. But to see them look the way they did in what I consider their first playoff game with Ben Johnson as coach, I was proud to see that.
They went back and forth with them in a game in which you had a feeling that this could turn into a shootout, but could the Bears keep up in the shootout?
Right.
And they definitely more than kept up in the shootout. They had an opportunity to win the game on the last play. Didn't go their way. I think it came down to that field goal drive that the Bears had, right? They had to take a field goal, and San Francisco never did. And I gained a lot more respect for Coach Johnson yesterday in his press conference. I asked him about that field goal drive because in the moment, they got down to the 10-yard line and they completely neglected the run. He called 3 straight passes. One was a middle screen, which is an extension of the run game, but he called 3 straight passes, and I was like, that ain't it right there. That's not it. And settling for this field goal is going to come back. I put it out in the tweet at that very moment. Like he's going to want that one back. And I asked him about it in the press conference yesterday, and he said, "Man, you hit the nail on the head." He was like, "You're exactly right." He was like, "Out of the whole game, that field goal drive, that sequence down the end, I would like that, but I want to make better calls in that situation." And I had a ton of respect for him doing that because a lot of coaches won't do that. They give you coach speak.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They get their ego involved and double down on the decision even though they know it's wrong. So I had a ton of respect for him doing that.
It's interesting how coaches can be very authentic when they have job security. My man, no, he's not going anywhere anytime. I'm good. He's good here, so he can keep it straight up real with you. I looked at it a little bit different. I think you're 200% right. But my 201% view is that if Colston and Luther don't drop those passes, and I'm not looking for perfection, but the timing of those 2 drop passes when they had basically not dropped anything.
And they had both balled out.
And there was no reason for them to drop those passes.
No.
Those weren't forced drop. Those are unforced drop passes. If I'll take both, but if either one,
catches.
We're having a whole different conversation.
I agree with you.
Because look at the yardage that they get, the time off the clock, how closer they are. We ain't even having a field goal conversation.
I agree with you.
And I know they're rookies, but I'm not asking for perfection. But those 2 drop passes, those moments, it's like, that's what killed the game for me.
I feel you. You mentioned Luther Burton before, and you mentioned him again. What do you think his ceiling is? Because he is coming on as an absolute problem.
Look. Let's be real about this dude. He's from East St. Louis, man.
East St.
Come on, man. And you know where, if you know anything about high school football in this state, what East St. Louis represents. They got 2 national football titles. They probably floating around 8-10 state titles, depending on what class they're going to. But
they got upset this year, but they were going crazy.
Right. This year was a down year for them, but they,
no, it wasn't. They went to the state championship. They beat everybody.
But they had 3 losses. 3 losses to them is a bad season. So you know what I'm saying? They had 4 losses this season. But what I'm saying is that look. Brian Cox, Kellen Winslow,
come on,
Coach Sherman, historic. But what I'm saying is that no other high school, and this is really a basketball state, but I mean it's a basketball city, but it's definitely a football state. You know what I'm saying?
They go Gene over there with his Mount Carmel Caravan.
Hey, I'm not mad. Look, I'm loving it. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that I'm glad. Shout out to Carmel for getting that state, being one of the greatest teams that we can put up against some of those East St. Louis teams. Finally, we can finally put a city team up against some of those East St. Louis teams. All I'm saying is that there was no other school in this state that has 2 national football titles in high school.
That's crazy.
East St. Louis is one of them. That's where he went to.
Yeah.
He's from that. So if you do your pedigree, if you do your research and understand the pedigree that this young man comes into the game with, then he's East St. Louis,
And you gotta listen, I got a ton of respect for East St. and St. Louis as a whole for the athletes that they've turned out. They've turned out a lot of really good athletes. And when I was doing my work on him after the Bears drafted him, I came across a high school tape of his, and in the broadcast of the high school tape, the brother who was calling the game said Luther Burden is going to end up being the best athlete to ever come out of St. Louis. And
out of St. Louis or East St. Louis?
Well,
Missouri or Illinois?
He said he was talking about St. Louis.
Okay, got it.
Now, Luther Burden graduated from East St. He spent his first 3 years.
Oh, he's from Missouri.
Right.
But he went to East St.
Right, but he went,
it's like Kevin Garnett from South Carolina, but Chicago built. Right. No. If he doesn't come to Chicago, if he don't go to Farragut, he's not Kevin Garnett.
He does become that.
So I'm saying the same thing about Luther Burden III.
I agree 100%.
He stayed in Missouri, but if he didn't go to East St. here in Illinois,
you go get that.
We don't get that dude.
But to make a statement like that when you're talking about the Jason Tatums and you're talking about so many other people, and this was an older brother, so he wasn't just spewing stuff. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but that is his sincere opinion.
LB3 hooped too. Don't forget, he hooped too.
Yeah.
So
right.
The
ceiling could be high for young Luther Burden. He broke out 8 for 138 and a touchdown this past Sunday. As you look ahead,
Rome better get healthy. I'm not taking things. I know stress fractures for real in your foot, right. Rome better come back.
Might end up being the better of the two.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know how they build them in Vegas, but I know how they build them in East St. Louis. Right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they different. And wait. What did he say coming into the game, Luther, on draft night?
Oh, no, he said, I'm coming for everybody that passed over me. I'm better than
that's all I'm saying. Right.
He had such a disposition the night he got drafted. He was so pissed off that he wasn't the first round pick and that he lasted to the second round. And we always do the immediate press conference with him virtually as soon as they get drafted. Mm-hmm. He came onto that Zoom so mad, like so pissed off. I'm like, bro, you got drafted? He like, I'm pissed. Yeah. He showed the next day. As soon as he walked in the press conference, I asked him, I said, are you feeling better today than you was on the Zoom yesterday? He was like, nah, they all gonna get this work. They gonna get this work because I feel slighted. So shout out to Luther Burden, man. He a cool dude too, cool young cat. Is this a Super Bowl caliber defense? You mentioned that we talked about it earlier.
No, not at all.
Can they win the Super Bowl with the way the defense is playing? Because you go back a week ago, they had the Packers game, and they held the Packers 0 for 5 in the red zone. 49ers go 5 for 5 in the red zone. I mean, obviously they lead the league in takeaways.
Okay,
I do think that's sustainable. They had another big one to start this game off. Can they win the Super Bowl with this defense?
Look, not with the individual players that they have, if they're healthy, the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. Two things to me project the answer no, having more power than that yes. Mm-hmm. In that, one, they collectively don't play well together because they don't stop anything.
Sure.
They take away, but they don't stop anything.
They give up a lot between the 20s.
Dude, at halftime, San Francisco was on pace for over 600 yards.
I was going.
Right, it was going there, right? And they're already giving up, what? Over 360 a game.
Yeah.
So to me, you're asking, is this defense Super Bowl caliber? I don't know. You have to have an offense that we've never seen before in life.
Right.
When you're 28th in the league in defensive rating and consider yourself Super Bowl contenders.
Greatest show on turf type stuff.
Right. You really have to be that.
And
I don't think that's that.
Yeah.
So inside of that, to me, there's less than a 2-point separation for what they give up and what they give.
Yeah.
As soon as those numbers start to change on the defensive end, where it's more like 6 points a game, 8 points a game, then no, I can't give them that. Yeah. But you can't give up, what is it? I forgot how many points they're giving up a game, maybe 24 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think they're scoring 26 or something like that. So you're deep. And I'm not saying you can't have a defense that gives up 24 points that can't make it to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying your offense at least has to get 30 a game. Right. Yeah. So with this defense, the way it is, and I don't see the offense really getting to that greatest show on turf type thing, like the old San Diego Chargers with Dan Fouts and all that. I don't see
air raid.
Right. I don't see that happening. I think this offense may get a couple more points. The defense has to reduce itself to at least maybe giving opponents 20 points a game still with those takeaways. But they have to stop giving up so much yardage every game, and they have to at least take away at least 4 points a game from the opposition for me to look at this as a Super Bowl caliber defense.
42 to San Francisco. We know what that offense is, even without George Kittle, but also gave up 42 to Joe Flacco and the Bengals. Like, it's a little sketchy, and I know they take the ball away, and
I know, but
and
now
that's valuable. But
I think Dennis Allen has the players. He just has to put a system in that collectively makes other teams at least have some fear about them. And I'm not just talking about the one game in San Francisco, but San Francisco moved as if every time they got on the field, they knew they were going to at least be in scoring position. There was no fear, no pushback, no nothing, because they knew. And Rex Ryan said on first day, he called them atrocious.
Yeah.
Then Mike Greeny followed that up like, yeah, they're horrible. And I don't think they're horrible. I don't think they're atrocious.
I don't think that either.
But the takeaways have a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But systemically, as a defensive unit, what they do collectively has to shift a bit. So they have to be better, and they have to stop giving they have to stop putting some fear in other teams, at least what they're going to face up defensively.
And I'm not down on DA as a coordinator. I think he's pushed a lot of right buttons this year. I think they've done a phenomenal job of getting guys prepared to play, as a lot of their first starters went down, and you saw what happened with the linebackers, and we've seen what's happened with Nashawn Wright, and all of that, getting CJ Johnson back in here, like all of those things. Like I give DA credit, but they have to find ways to impact the passer more consistently.
I got that, and I agree. That comes with the front line. That's Booker and Sweat and all. They need to do better. But let me ask you a question, and I think I may have come up with my own answer, but I'm gonna ask you this question: who's the leader of that defense?
Kevin Byard is the leader of the defense.
That's what I was about to get to, because is he a quiet leader, or do they know he's the leader?
They do know that, but I think it's always tough when that's the case, because he's on the back end. And unless you're a Brian Dawkins, and he's a strong safety, you know what I mean? Like, unless you're a Brian Dawkins or something like he's that vocal energy. Like, KB is not really that guy. I know he speaks to him before the game all the time in the circle up before the game. And KB is a leader. They know that in the locker room. You can see how the guys have a reverence for him. But it's tough when that guy is on the back end of your team.
That's because I was about to say, and you're closer to it than I am, because I'm not there in the locker room, so I don't get all of what you're getting. I was about to say he needs to be the presence and the leader. I was about to say Kevin's name. Like, Kevin Byard needs to be that dude, but you're saying he already is that dude.
Yeah.
Then what he needs to be, if he's already the leader, to me, he needs to be their identity. Every great defense you look at, they have a defensive identity through one or maybe two players, at least one player.
Yeah.
We can go to me, Ed Reed was the best defensive player they had on their Baltimore team, but who was the identity? Ray Lewis. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Ray Lewis.
So even with the Bears back in the day,
they had
they had two Suggs there, right? I'm looking at the Bears back in the day, the 85. Look, and I thought Richard Dick was one of the baddest, and Wilbur Marshall was but the identity was who?
Mike Singletary.
My thing with Kevin Byard.
The same way about Mike Brown and Urlacher. I love Mike Brown.
Yeah.
But it was Urlacher.
It was Urlacher. Exact same thing. And when Mike Brown didn't play in the Super Bowl, that's what cost him the Super Bowl. The whole thing.
I missed that last week.
But what I'm saying is that you're getting to my point is that I was about to say leader, but you say he's already leader. Then I'm gonna take my point and double down on it and say identity. He needs to be the public defensive identity of this team needs to be wrapped around Kevin Byard III. Period. And that's what shapes them to do things systemically. And let them know, what teams know, what type of defense you're facing. Because individually, teams come in and know what these players can do. They know what Johnson could do. They know what Edwards could do. They know what Sweat. They know what Booker could do. They know what people could do at their position, but they don't know collectively what type of defense they're facing. Kevin, just through his play, if he shapes them from an identity standpoint, not just from getting interceptions.
See, that's the thing, because I think I think you're also kind of answering your question in that sense too, because what this defense has been is an opportunistic take the ball away defense. And I think he set the tone for that. He started out the season getting the interceptions. He set the tone for that. Now you see, you know, what Nashawn Wright has been able to do and all these other guys that are getting their hands on the ball, that's leading to them being the number one defense in terms of takeaways. I do think he sets the standard. I don't know that is enough. I don't know that just leaning on your ability to take the ball away is enough. And I'm not somebody who's saying, oh, that's not sustainable. I do think they can continue to do that. I don't know that that's enough.
So
to win a Super Bowl.
So Ryan Poles in the offseason needs to do something on that D-line. Not as much as he did on the O-line this past offseason. But at least get somebody.
They're in a beautiful position because of what you said. A lot of their nucleus is young. They're still on their rookie deals. He's going to have a great opportunity to go into this offseason and say, okay, where are the holes on my roster? Where can I even upgrade, right? Maybe I like this player. Maybe I think he's a good player, but maybe I think I can upgrade here or there. And I think this is the first time in a very long time that the Bears have had an opportunity to enter the offseason and say, okay, I like our nucleus. I'm good with most of what we got. How do I go and put the finishing touches and make this a perennial Super Bowl contender? And you think it starts with how you impact the quarterback, getting those types of guys up front on the defensive line and having the opportunity to go out and fill in those other spaces.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not putting any pressure on Dennis Allen, but I do believe that I'm giving him grace because it's year one.
Yeah.
You know, but he needs to shape this and give this defense an identity.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, I think it would come from the KB3, you know, but it may come from somebody getting somebody on the line, maybe giving somebody else some more responsibility, you know, and saying, hey, you know, we need you to be that identity for this defense.
Go out and free agency,
but they
money. Why you got your quarterback on a rookie deal? Because you're gonna have to get him $300 million in about 3 years. So then it might be higher than that by then. I don't even know.
Yeah. It may be. It may be. But you know, at the same time, I'm gonna have the same conversation with you 3 years from now that we had 3 months ago. Is that Caleb Williams can be phenomenal. Everybody can be phenomenal.
He has a ways to go.
But no, I'm saying the running game could be Airbnb could have them doing the same thing here that Ben Johnson had them doing in Detroit, like with the 1-2 punch as far as running back is concerned. They can have everything in place. But if that defense is not like in the middle of the pack, as far as rating is concerned, if they're not somewhere between 12 and 16 of one of the best defenses in the league, it doesn't matter what they're going to do. And that has nothing to do with the Chicago identity and this being a monster.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You can't have a defense to give up that many yards, be identity-less, even with all the takeaways, and giving up that many points close to how many points you're getting. You can't win a Super Bowl with that, I don't think.
Listen, Scoop, we got to wrap this up, but I do want you to run around the league with me quick, real fast, because there were some games this past weekend that had major playoff implications.
Okay.
All right. Let's go through it. Eagles went to Buffalo and survived, knocked off the Bills. I don't know. It's so hard to figure out the Eagles, man. They got so much talent. They're obviously the defending Super Bowl champions. I still believe in what they do in their brand of football. They go up there to Buffalo and beat them 13-12.
Shut them out in the first half, though. That's the thing. And I give Josh Allen and them guys credit for coming back. But the way that Philly defense looked in that first half, every year there's a team that you never want to see in the playoffs. That team right there, especially with defending their thing, that's the team that scared me. Like, I don't know who's going to get through them because they could be, we don't know. They could be the team that, like, I don't want to say checked out, but checked out during the regular season because their minds were so much on repeating that they really look. Once we get there, once the playoffs start, we start. They could be that team, and it looked like that team in the first half. Like, all we're waiting on is the playoffs. All we're waiting on is the playoffs. And if they click, all that drama, all that BS going on, whatever, like that's y'all. We're good. Now the playoffs start. We're locked in. They scared me in that game.
You still don't want to be the defensive coordinator that's got to wake up and figure out a game plan for Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts. So that's still going to be an issue. The Bills had a lot to play for in that game, too. They're trying to figure out how they can win the AFC East with the Patriots, but they didn't get it done. The Eagles got it done. The Jaguars, man, continue to be a surprising team. Mentioned Liam Cohen in the opening as Liam Coleman in the opening is one of the people who deserves to be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. He got a lot of flack when he first came in there for Duval, and he should have because that was crazy. But they did go to Indianapolis and beat the Colts and Grandpa.
Well, don't get me stuck. That's a whole nother conversation, you know. But Sunshine's looking good, man. Trevor Lawrence is there. You go, Sunshine. No, he's looking good. He's looking solid. I think he's found himself. He's found his footing. Once again, he's given them an offensive identity. Nobody expected them to do what they did. I don't know how tough of an out they're going to be. But I don't want to give them too much credit for beating Indiana with the way things have been going on in Indiana. It's kind of everything, you know, it's kind of falling. It has nothing to do with like Rivers being there. It's just
no this. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
That AFC is going to be strange. We're going to get to a couple more of those teams as we go through. The Seahawks, number 1 seed in the NFC, they got to play the 49ers going into this thing to figure out who's actually going to get that. But Seahawks look good again. The Panthers was trying to go in there and solidify their opportunity to win the South. They're still dealing with the Bucs and that thing. But the Seahawks took care of business 2017.
I know, and I'm looking forward to this game only because I think this might be the most important game coming up Sunday, you know, this week, because I don't think either one wants to give in anything and going into the playoffs. I think you want that momentum. I think you want to send a message. I think, like, you know, who's the better team? It's the hottest team against the best team. So,
and it's the top seed.
I know it's the top seed. So I don't want to have Regency bias after just seeing San Francisco.
They look good, though.
Like, damn.
But that Seahawks defense is legit too.
That Seahawks is Legion of Doom worthy mentioning, and they are for real. I can't call it, man. I cannot call who's going, but this is going to be.
I'm gonna kick back and enjoy it.
Yeah, this one you're gonna kick back and enjoy and see and hope that the Bears are paying attention, because if you're trying to get to where you're gonna go to, you're gonna have to you got to deal with something. You know, one of these teams.
If the Bears win that game against the Lions, they are the number 2 seed regardless, and then they'll be locked in to play the Packers, who are locked into the number 7 seed. We'll see what that is. I don't necessarily want to see them boys 3 times in 6 weeks. Not to mention that Packers outplayed the Bears both of those games so far, but that's another discussion. The Bucs went to Miami and took an L. The Bucs are trying to win the NFC South. It is just not working for them. But
they're the NFC versions of the Colts.
They started out so fast.
That's what I'm saying. The NFC version of the Colts. Same thing, started so fast. And I'm a fan of Baker. Once again, we talked about arrogance early in the show. Yeah. You got to walk through life. He has that arrogance. You got to walk through it. But that's the only way you can be successful.
I remember his college game in Oklahoma. I can't remember who they were playing, but they went out to meet for the captain's meetings early in the thing before the game, and the dudes wouldn't shake their hands. And he walked away and said, "Now you're going to get spanked. Now daddy got to spank you. You know who daddy is." I was like, that's crazy. Like, he told them boys that was mic'd up. I was like, that's wild. But he's definitely got that. But I think they're probably going to miss it. They do have a game against the Panthers. They play the Bucs and the Panthers. I like how the NFL has put these division games late, so you can kind of work these things out on their own. But they got the Bucs and the Panthers to see who's going to come out the South.
I think
only one can go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Baker on this. I'm thinking the way they play, and the games that they've lost have not been games where they've just gotten like F beat out of them. You know what I'm saying? There's been 1 or 2 small things that have cost them losses, and I think that arrogance in Mayfield is going to be the driving force that gets them to go.
We shall see. We shall see. He did play for the Panthers for a year as well. The Steelers, trying to figure that thing out, is an enigma. They go to the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to Shador. The Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 13-6 in an ugly offensive football game. The Steelers are obviously trying to battle for the AFC North title because only one of them are going to go, them or the Ravens. They also play in Week 18.
And Metcalf isn't playing again, right?
Was he suspended for 2 games?
Yeah,
or
he's
one?
suspended 2 games.
Oh, they smoked. Lamar and them getting in.
I think the only question we're dealing with the Steelers is, is this Aaron Rodgers going to be his last game? Is he going to come back for another one of these?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to Mike Tomlin after this? Because unless Aaron pulls something out of his ass and goes back to 2013, I don't see them winning. And I don't want to be the one who put it all on DK Metcalf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that was real stupid.
But at the same time,
you go over there and smack a dude?
Look, here's the thing. this wasn't a isolated incident.
Sure.
This is a situation that had happened in the past. He had warned security about this dude, Johnson. And I hate to say it, because we're all supposed to walk around with some sense of control, restraint. And I don't want to say this and be gender specific. So I'll put it this way. I was about to say as a man.
Yeah.
But as a human being, there's only so much you're going to be able to take, especially in those situations where you're already on 10. If this was an isolated thing, maybe, but this is a reoccurring situation and it's not being dealt with.
Yeah.
And he reacted in a moment that I think most human beings,
would,
right? Most men or women, you know, women would.
Yeah.
So I'm not blaming. Look, I'll keep this quick. I was behind Vernon Maxwell back in the day when he went up in the fans, and people don't know what the fans said to him. In this case, the man saying he didn't say what he said, DK saying he said what he said.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm more than likely, I've been in these situations a lot, and I'm trusting what the player said.
Me too.
Especially if this is the second or third occurrence of this.
Yeah.
The fan told Vernon Maxwell as he's leaving, that's why your baby died. And he just had a baby die of SIDS.
Oh, that's
he said that to him. And people
fucking insane.
But what I'm saying is that he should have never gone to no. Not
a human being on earth.
That's all I'm saying is that, like, we have to stop acting like things that are being said, like words don't have matter.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is this situation with DK Metcalf, I'm not going to call it stupid. I'm not even say it was wrong. I say it was costly.
Yeah. Okay.
And it may not be worth it to the team.
Okay.
But as a human being in that particular situation, especially with it not being a one-off, this is a reoccurring situation. I get it.
All right. You just talking me out of it, because we got a segment on the show called Buddy Ass Tweaking. And every week we identify somebody that just super tweaked, and that was going to be the guy for missing 2 games that's vitally important. But I'm with you on that. You're right. Ravens go to Green Bay, keep their season alive. They beat the Packers 41-24. Does that mean anything about the Ravens and where they're headed in terms of, we talked about they having the game with the Steelers, and does it mean anything about the Packers right now?
One, it validates the Bears losing to the Ravens without Lamar Jackson too. You know what I'm saying? It helps that situation. So it's like, all right, you know, maybe they're not that bad, but it also shows you how strong this team actually is and what they can actually do. And they're not relying on one player to save them. You know, for whatever reason, they came out the gates horribly. The exact opposite of what we talked about with Tampa Bay and Indiana. They got themselves together. They're like the AFC version of the Philadelphia Eagles. They're that championship pedigree team that has more to it than what we often see on paper and sometimes in games. But once they get their stuff together, once they start, I hate to use this term, start trusting each other, which it seems like they're doing now, that's the team you don't want to see.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems like the Ravens are back on course to be like, all right, if we could just get another game, and if we could get into this thing to give Lamar one more week to get ready. He may not be the same Lamar for the rest of the season we play, but all we need is 1 week. And after that, everything is 1 week.
And you can lean on King Henry.
And you can lean.
That's always tough for anyone.
You can lean on him until Lamar gets back. And then you might even just put Lamar in there as a decoy just to take away maybe 5 runs from him. Not that Lamar's going to run like that because of the injury, but you have to respect what this man can do once he's on the field, and that takes pressure off what you're going to ask King Henry to do. Because if you ask him to carry the ball 35 times, that's fine for 1 week, but you can't do that another week and expect to win, and then get into the playoffs, and then ask the man to do it for 3 or 4 more weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's had his fumbling issues. So has Zay Flowers, and so has
that's the key. Flowers is the key. Flowers is the key to them.
They got that big tight end who had his big drop last year as well. The Houston Texans.
Biggest drop ever. Biggest drop ever.
Oh my God. The Houston Texans, 20-16, they go to LA and SoFi and deal with the Chargers. This Texans team, that defense is legit, man. I love what they're doing out there on that side of the football.
I do too. And their defense is just as good from their standpoint as probably Seattle's, if we're being honest with you. And we talked about the Bears defense, and what it Super Bowl caliber defense looks like. The Texans are playing at a Super Bowl caliber level, you know, when it comes to their defense and on the field. Now,
identity their head coach too.
Oh man, love dude.
Yeah.
And he and Stroud seem to be connected, you know, in a way, and not necessarily strategically, you know, what they're going to do, but what they know they're both capable of and what they both want.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. It's hard to tell what they're going to do because of teams that they possibly have to run up against. And I'm thinking of the matchups. How do you, as good as their defense is, how do you believe in them? Like, case scenario, the Patriots.
Sure.
What do you think? That's kind of what I'm at. Right. That's exactly what I'm at. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. The AFC is so different now because we're so used to seeing, once again, like the Ravens and seeing the Bills and seeing the Chiefs, you know, that now we're asking for unknown situations. So how is this Houston defense going to look?
Yeah.
Going against these new teams that we haven't seen playing the playoffs before. The Jaguars in the right.
Broncos are back.
We haven't seen what these teams really look like in playoff situations, so we don't know how to gauge Houston defense in playoff situations.
It don't look like they're gonna be. I don't know if they're gonna be able to run down the Jags. I don't know who both of them played the last game. I wonder if it's each other actually, but see if they can run down the Jags to win the South. Otherwise, they'll have to do it from the wild card position, which means they're going on the road to these games. But defense travels. We'll see what they're able to do. The LA Rams. What a situation that was last night. I mean, you talk about them being the best offense in the league, and you talk about Matt Stafford winning the MVP, and then they go to the lowly Falcons, and it's 21-0 before you even know what's going on.
Yeah.
They end up not being able to come all the way back. They lose 27-24 to the Falcons.
Once again, you know, this is the NFL, and as you being someone who's covered the NFL, you know there's always going to be those weeks that just
don't make sense.
Don't make sense. You know, and teams do check out, even though they prepare not to check out. Sometimes teams do check out. And sometimes these losses can be good for your next 5 weeks.
Sure.
Like, this is what your team needs. Your team and coaches talk about this all the time.
Wake up call, get that loss out the way.
Right. Because it gets coaches the ability to get in their team's ass in a way they can't get in their team's ass if they want. Right. Exactly. So, and this is one of the reminders that, hey, once the playoffs start, once the wild card is over, you know, if you're on you win your first game, if you're on your second game, this is the game coaches remind their teams of before they get.
You can lose to anybody. You lost to the Falcons. This ain't even like the Bears losing to the Niners.
No,
you lost to the Falcons.
You lost to the Falcons, and that right there, it was just 4 weeks ago, fella. 4 weeks ago. So stop getting all excited.
Don't think you the shit.
Right. Ain't no happy dances around here. No. I'm gonna bring y'all back. And you know what? We're not even gonna watch this game film on Wednesday.
Nah.
We're coming back and we're watching this Falcons game. I'm gonna seek this into you all. So for me, the way the Rams have been playing, to me, they're the team, they're the odds-on favorite in my mind to win it because of what they have going for them. And I think, and this is no disrespect to a lot of the players in the league, and I'm especially Christian CMC, you know, McCaffrey, but Puka Nacua may be the best player in the NFL to me.
He's insane.
He is insane. So you having everything they have going on inside, and to me, having the quote unquote maybe pound for pound best player in the game, they're the team that I think is the front runner. I don't think they have to beat anybody. Somebody's going to have to beat them.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at the Rams. And this one loss doesn't do anything to me because I think, you know, McVay would be like, I'll take this.
No, that's cool.
You know, so I'll take this.
Yeah.
I'll take this all day. This is needed for me because this is going to bring them back down to the humbleness that you need to match the arrogance that you have to take with you to go into these playoffs to win the Super Bowl.
They got Devontae Adams. They got a veteran quarterback. They got a pretty good defense as well. The Rams are going to be a tough out, and they could be coming to Soldier Field. Depending on if the Bears lose on Sunday, then a lot of these seeding things could change, and they could end up seeing the Rams or the Niners again as well. So we'll see how it all plays out on Sunday.
I'd rather them see the Niners again than see the Rams. I ain't gonna lie. The Bears.
Would you rather them see the Packers over anybody or no? Considering where the Packers are right now and trying to dismiss the historical.
Parsons ain't on the field, man. I need to see it full.
Yeah.
I need to see it full. to be able to talk the shit that we want to talk.
Well, go win.
You know what I'm saying?
Go beat Detroit and bring on the Packers then.
Right. I mean, bring them on, see what's happening. But this thing is going to go until everybody's on court full.
Yeah.
Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. It was like the Bulls and Miami.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When hey. Oh, yeah. Like, let's go. When Pooh was on the court and LeBron was on the court, nobody's injured. You know, Lou Aldane was there, Joe was there, you know, D-Wade was there. Because full strip, let's go.
That's it.
Nothing's going to get squashed in this rivalry until we see it all on the field. And that'll be next year.
Scoop, man, you know I love you to death. I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for coming
Proud
through.
Of you.
All y'all watching, thank y'all so much. I want to get to the super chat before we get out of here. Crystal says the show today deserves a super chat. Appreciate it. A great time on Sunday. Always bear down. We appreciate Crystal coming through with the super chat. I know everybody's watching like this is the longest one. We were very loquacious today. I understand that.
That's my fault. That's on me.
No, man, we could have listen. Me and you could do this for 15 hours, and I'll be perfectly fine with it. But I
that'll be your last show too.
That'll be it. I'll be done.
You be signing up. You be like, hey, we out.
But nah, man, thank you so much.
Man, thank you. Appreciate
it means a ton. I appreciate you. You mean a ton to me, and I'm glad we got to chop it up, man. About the industry, about our position in it, and the Bears and the rest of the league, man.
Yes,
thank you.
Love it, man. Thank you. Appreciate you having me. It's an honor. Always.
That is the one and only Scoop Jackson. I'm Herb Howard. Huge shout out to the team doing all the hard work behind the camera. Shout out to PI. Shout out to T. Shout out to Gene, man. Graciously giving up his seat as the star of the show for Scoop Jackson today, man.
Hope I did it justice, you know.
Definitely held it down, brother. Definitely held it down. We will see y'all back here as we take a little bit deeper dive into the preview of the Week 18 matchups. We'll do that on Friday. Until then, y'all be good to each other. Peace.